Superheroes are some of the most powerful things that most of us could imagine, with these awesome powers like flight, super strength, or the ability to stop the voices from screaming all day, which, if you have that one, hats off to you, because personally, I haven't had a coherent thought in months. Unfortunately, however, we all know superheroes aren't real. Okay, well, most of us do. Unlike Santa, superheroes don't break into our house, eat our food, and chuck a couple boxes under the tree before giving our moms a kiss in the span of a millisecond just to prove they're real. However, on occasion, there are people who may be delusional enough to think that they actually might be a superhero like Spider-Man or Captain Underpants. So, what exactly happens when you take this delusion and shatter the altered perception of reality that it built? And to that I say, I'm Stickers, and this is Bolt.
Because Mindy from the network, if the dog believes it, the audience believes it.
Wow.
Bolt is a movie about a dog who thinks he's a superhero because he plays one on TV, and then he finds out he's just a muggle, and he gets bullied out of Hogwarts. Which is funny because it's kind of like seeing a rich kid after their parents get arrested and had all their assets taken by the IRS. But anyways, the movie opens with Bolt as a baby falling in love with a carrot from one of those sensory videos on TikTok that you watch because your brain is slowly melting into being fascinated by any, oh, there's the broccoli, he's my favorite. Bolt then gets adopted by Miley fucking Cyrus, who is sharing a host body named Penny with another actress because, well, they probably couldn't afford to get her to do all the lines. And almost everything after this point in Bolt's life is absolute bullshit. This director jumps through hoops like a fucking dolphin to make sure that Bolt believes everything that he is doing in the movie is real, because it's more authentic. And what I find so interesting about this conceptually is that in the movie you're watching essentially what is the slow break of a character's entire perception of the world around them as they get introduced to reality itself. Seeing a brain that has already preconceived notions about where it is on the plane of existence and what it perceives to be the laws of reality being completely crumbled as a facade, seeing this brain that's developed in a completely different environment than what is even possible, trying to learn and interact with our actual world for the first time. It's kind of like watching a baby that knows nothing but quantum physics try to walk for the first time. It's demeaning to the other feats that it has. And so for a good portion of this movie, Bolt just thinks he's a god, until he realizes that everything is not what it seems. This network lady wants Bolt to be more appealing to the kind of people that would keep Rainbow Dash in a mason jar and fill it with, milk. Bolt gets packed into a box and sent across the country and meets this mobster cat named Mittens and forces her to take him along the yellow brick road. Mittens and Bolt have this kind of yin and yang thing going on where Bolt is delusional about his life being a lie and not being able to come to terms with that because of his pride, and Mittens came to terms with an aspect of her life and started to create her own life of delusion to deal with the feelings that it presented, which would be feelings of abandonment, a pretty common theme in this movie, and for someone like me, that shit hits like a truck. I cried a little bit watching this movie. Anyways, look at Bolt throw this bomb and fucking kill some guys. Awesome. He is so boss. Along the adventure following the map from that one Family Guy episode, we've got pigeons that I want in every rotation ever, a cookout, a hamster named Rhino in this monkey ball, and fucking styrofoam. Which Bolt thinks is like his kryptonite or some shit and fucking dies. R.I.P. Lil Bro, you will be missed. One of the things you'll notice as you watch the movie is it has a very interesting way of fading the background to focus on certain aspects where it makes the background into like brush strokes. And so for majority of this movie, you're wondering if you're watching a movie or staring at a fucking oil painting high off your ass on acid. The overall art style for this film is okay, I suppose. However, there is some genuinely beautifully animated scenes, such as this one where it is mostly focused on Bolt's fur, but for a second, you actually kind of forget he isn't a real dog. And then he starts talking, so that kind of breaks it. The group gets caught by 12, and they end up having to escape Guantanamo Bay. And during this whole thing, Miley Cyrus has both her worlds completely devoid of emotion. Sunglasses and hair won't fool me, bitch. You're still sad. Throughout the movie, Bolt finds moments where the skills that he used to think he had are still somehow applicable to actual reality and help him out of certain predicaments. which are usually just moments where he tries to use his superpowers, not realizing that he doesn't have any, and then coincidentally something happening in his favor. They blow up a fucking car. How could you not want to see this movie? So boss. The real reason you're going to want to watch this movie is because you get to slowly watch Bolt return to being an actual dog rather than this paranoid, worried shell of a dog and what he was when he was acting. It's such a rewarding experience for the viewer to get to see him relax and enjoy little things and revert back to a prior state of mind when he was younger. And it feels very deserved after watching him adapt, although reluctantly, to how the world actually is, and it makes for this really intriguing narrative, which is weird because instead of what most superhero movies do, they would have a normal person turn supernatural. They kind of reverse this idea and pitch you a dog that thinks he is supernatural, returning back to a normal life in a normal state of mind. It makes it really interesting. It's like watching an addict get and stay fully sober, watching them overcome this mental hurdle that has hindered their life so deeply that seeing them in a good mental state where they are grounded and for what most would seem as bare minimum becomes this incredible achievement, and it genuinely makes you happy to see. And finally, after making it to Goth IHOP, the place he wanted to be all along, the place he's seen in his dreams every night, he traveled across the country for it, and he finds out he's been replaced, and he's been cheated on, and so he runs away, and he goes to bawl his eyes out. Just to realize the place is burning to the fucking ground. And so he runs back to save all the goth mummies in hopes of, I don't know, free pancakes or some shit. And Penny was stuck inside, which is funny because, this would be a great time to have that wrecking ball, huh? Bolt goes to save her and tries to escape out the drone hole, but there's a mute jammer. It's over. Penny can't get through, so they lay down and fucking die in smoke's gas. Before this, they obviously got hotboxed to shit and they both started tweaking. I actually bawled my eyes out watching this part, but that's, you know, that's besides the point. Bolt unleashes with all his might one final super bark, and he uses it to say a slur on Twitter, which causes all of Twitter to pull them out of there just to beat his fucking ass. And they all live happily ever after in the Batcave. Oh, and there's this evil fella, he's named Dr. Doofenshmirtz, or Chaos or some shit. He's just an actor though. The green-eyed man will come for you in time. He's on the edge right now. Anyways, that's Bolt, pretty much. Real shit though, this movie is really fucking good. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it. If not, you know, that's cool. If you liked this video, you could subscribe and be awesome, or you could watch this video I made similar to this one about Ratatouille and decide if you're still interested first. I think the plan is to do Kronk's New Groove next, because I think that movie is like Disney's one good sequel. But anyways, that's it from me. Toodles, bitch.